What is up, everyone, and welcome back to an all-new episode of On the Fly. I am your host, Katie DeFeo. This week, we actually surprisingly have a lot to go through, even though the women's lacrosse collegiate season is over. The last time you guys saw me, I was interviewing my goat and baby goat, Charlotte North and Rachel Hall. Since even that interview, there's been so much news in women's lacrosse, but we never even talked about the championship. I flew back to Baltimore all the way from Los Angeles, California, just to watch 3 women's lacrosse games. Is that crazy? Yes, I'm aware. I have a job, I have things that I need to be doing, but women's lacrosse comes first. Grow the game. I always said all year, get to a game. What a hypocrite I would be if I didn't prioritize getting to the game. So I did. I booked a flight, Southwest, across the entire country, decent flight. I get into Baltimore, I have a great weekend with friends and family, but more importantly, above friends and family, I got to finally watch UNC America's team and Boston College America's team in real life. Let me tell you, it was quite the treat. Obviously, it was very clear who I was rooting for going into championship weekend. I wanted the North Carolina Tar Heels to win it all because my friend Kerrigan Miller was on the team. That is where because Kerrigan Miller was on the team, obviously I wanted UNC to win. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But you know what? The next best thing to me happened. Charlotte North, who's my goat. I posted with Charlotte North on Instagram, and it got more likes than when I posted about my own college graduation. So that should tell you how much the women's lacrosse community values Charlotte herself. She went from 7,000 Instagram followers on the morning of the championship game to now about 29 and counting. Absolutely unbelievable. She's a rising star in our game. And since I interviewed her, not only did she win the Tewaaraton Trophy, but she announced that she's coming back to BC, and I announced that I am looking at apartments in the city of Boston so that I can get season tickets and watch every single home game, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Championship weekend, UNC, America's team, Goliath, undefeated, they've beaten BC a handful of times. BC comes in. And if you watch my interview with Charlotte and Rachel, they said that their coach, Acacia Walker-Weinstein, told them, you're gonna win. You're gonna win. Imagine hearing that from your coach when you're about to play the best team in the country. Do you know how fired up you must get? Talk about a coach having confidence in their players. That was an incredible semifinal game. To me, I've been following this season very closely, and to me, that semifinal was what we deserved as lacrosse fans. We deserved BC to go in there, for Rachel Hall to absolutely stand on her head, baby goat, one of the best goalkeepers in the country, a heavyweight battle between the Boston College Eagles and the UNC Tar Heels. At the time, it obviously did not go my way. That was a pretty sad day for me. But I honestly, that night was like, okay, honestly, I'm pretty pumped for Rachel. I'm pretty pumped for Charlotte. Rachel, I knew from when I used to visit my friend Claire at Oregon when Rachel used to play there. Charlotte, I just know through the internet and through mutual friends. And I was pumped for them. I mean, they worked really hard this year. I called them the hype train very early on. I've actually interviewed them twice this season. I was excited for them to get a shot at the championship. They had to go through Syracuse, who had already beaten them a couple of times again, but that didn't stop them. In the semifinals, it was the defense. It was BC's defense that really carried them through the entire game. Rachel Hall stood on her head in the second half, didn't let a single shot in from one of the most lethal offenses in the country, the UNC Tar Heels. But Sunday, the championship game, it was the Charlotte North show. It was vintage Charlotte North. It was what we had been seeing all year long from Charlotte North in one game. She knew that the spotlight was on her. She knew that everybody was watching. She knew that she had to rise to the expectations and the level that she had been playing on all year. So what did she do? She rose to that level. Charlotte freaking North. I was going crazy in that stadium. I was literally there in line to meet Charlotte with like little kids in line with me to go meet Charlotte. Like I'm not afraid to say that I'm a fan. She's my age. Like we're the same age. And I'm a fan of Charlotte North. It was like, I've not experienced something like that since I was a little kid and I used to go watch Alex Haas and Taylor Cummings play at Maryland. Like it was such a great feeling. Be a fan of women's lacrosse again. To be really there watching a game as a fan. And it was a special day. I was with my friends. We got to go down, sit and watch. I mean, it was just great to be in a stadium again. Like all the fans were in there. BC won. They went nuts. Got to link up with the little homie Rachel Hall. Got to just congratulate them on all of their success. I fly back here. I immediately book an interview with both of them. They had to do other big things. They went on a world tour of the city of Boston. They met the governor, Governor Charlie Baker. They went to the Boston Celtics, Boston Bruins, Boston Red Sox, Patriots. They went everywhere. They had a week. They got, and this is another thing, honestly, as women's lacrosse, I feel like has sometimes gotten second fiddle. Women's sports in general has gone second fiddle in terms of how big of an accomplishment it actually is to win something. I'm glad that the BC women's lacrosse team got recognized properly for what they did this year. They got to do everything that like a professional men's team would get to do, even more so. Like they got really recognized. I saw today they had a billboard up. Gosh. Charlotte then announced she's coming back next year. No surprise there. Like I said, I'm looking at apartments. I'm going to be a season ticket holder. It's going to be really insane. I think that's genuinely a really good thing for the sport. I am so big on Charlotte North. I think she's a great role model. And I just really, really, really am excited to have her come back to BC next year. I think it'll be great for college women's lacrosse. Then we had USA tryouts this last weekend down in Maryland. Unfortunately, I was already back in Los Angeles at that point, but literally I tweeted, I was like, this is the most star-studded ensemble of people you could ever imagine on one field. It was like everybody from Taylor Cummings all the way down to like the best sophomores in college. It didn't even make sense. So many talented players. You name one of your favorite players, college right now, or from like my vlogs all the way up to like people who are like 30 years old, and they were there. They were on that field. It was absurd. It honestly was amazing. I watched the little live stream that they did. It was very, very awesome. Team USA, the real America's team, is in a very good place. They just announced their 36-man roster who's gonna go to the next training weekend. No surprises there. Cutthroat operation. Well, I wouldn't be able to hold my own, but I could go and like play. I would get wrecked, but it'd be funny. Maybe we'll do it for the vlog. Now, there's something else that I wanted to address. This is tough for me. I'll be honest, this is tough. There was a recent incident this past weekend of a girl who had a lacrosse tournament, and she was being harassed for not looking like a stereotypical girl should look. And she was getting yelled at and heckled by the other team, and actually the other team's parents, which is just so inexcusable. So inexcusable. Grown adults acting like children. Even children shouldn't act like that. But grown adults are gonna get out there and chirp a young girl. Like, what are we do? People have lost their minds. People have really lost their minds. It was brought to my attention because the girl who it happened to tagged me in her Instagram post about it. I left a really nice comment. I had a couple other friends leave really nice comments. And I'm not gonna link to the post or anything because I don't want to bring any more attention to her in case she doesn't want any more attention around it. But she is a rock star, and the way she handled it and her caption on the post was like really inspiring to me. Obviously me, you know, it's no secret. You look at me, I'm not your typical girl. I'm taller. I have a deeper voice. So I had to deal with some of these things growing up and playing lacrosse, and I had nasty things said to me and all sorts of all of that type of stuff. So I reached out to her, and we've been going back and forth about it. And I just wanted to say that if you are going to girls lacrosse games or lacrosse games in general, if you're going out into the world and harassing people for the way they look, because they don't look stereotypical or they don't fit you don't approve of the way, like, you're a clown. You're a clown. Like, you really have to do some soul searching. And I want to applaud all the girls who were having their teammates back, who were supporting her, and all of my homies who commented and reached out and how can we help. And harassment like that and bullying like that has absolutely no place in our sport. Absolutely no place. You'd like to think that grown adults would be bigger than that. It's a little disheartening, but to me, like, I'm not sad about it because the way I read her caption and like speaking to her about it, like, she is wise beyond her years, the stuff she was saying about how she's handling this and how she's moving forward. So I just wanted to quickly throw that out there. If you're making fun of people for the way they look, you're an absolute clown, and I just want you to know that. But shout out to the girl in question. She's an absolute rock star. She inspires me. She's in middle school and I'm a grown adult, and she inspires me. So not to leave on a dark note there, but support your homies. Always have your homies' backs. And guys, I will see you next week.